To say Predator Homeworld is a disappointment might be the biggest understatement of the freaking year. Predator Homeworld is a four-issue mini that came out in '99. It is the second to last Predator comic series to come out before the big Predator hiatus shortly before the AVP film. It seems like Alien, AVP, and Predator all kind of went on a hiatus from what I've noticed. But Predator, it's a comic wise, is a decade long, which is makes sense after you read Homeworld. Homeworld is a four-issue mini about bad blood again. And when I mean bad blood, for those of you who don't know, a bad blood Yautja or bad blood predator is a predator that kills another predator. So there's some weird ceremony thing in the very beginning of the first issue where these three Yautja sacrifice another one. One witnesses it, and the three go off to Earth to hunt in Yellowstone National Park, and they're just slaughtering everything. They're truly crazed and bad blood, and another Yautja is dispatched to deal with them. We've seen this before. A lot of what we're seeing in this story has been done before. We've done the Bad Blood thing. Bad Blood sucked ass. It was a terrible comic, but that's for some reason because it's slightly better than a lot of the Predator comics. It's considered the greatest thing ever. I don't know. I don't get that. I don't get why people like Bad Blood, the comic. It's just not good. But this is worse. It's Yautja hunting other things other than humans for the first half of it. A little under the first half of it. But until they just start just blatantly murdering people left and right. Like we saw in Primitive. I think there was another one called Fugitive that had those FBI, the guys that killed the FBI agents that were wanted federally for crimes. That one kind of dealt with that too. The framing device of this, though, is these two people. One is a former war correspondent photographer who saw too much in the Gulf War and just does nature photography now because he has PTSD. The other is a biologist, and they get wrapped up in this. And it's the two of them being deposed, and a government agent and a scientist like listening to both of them going back and forth. No one is particularly likable, but the big thing in this comic is the ghastly art. For some reason, Dark Horse decided in the late 90s and the early 2000s that they had to reinvent the wheel of what is acceptable comic art. And so we get a lot of, and you probably saw this if you read through the Rise of the Sith omnibus, because that Star Wars omnibus really deals with a lot of the comic like trends at Dark Horse, which really boiled down to cartoony coloring and really doofy line work. And this is the ultimate amalgamation of dog shit that is late 90s Dark Horse art. It's like everyone decided that Mike Mignola needed to be copied, but more cartoony. But the thing is, Mike Mignola's art, it's an acquired taste, sure. But I would never say Mike Mignola's art is bad. It suits Hellboy perfectly. Here's the deal. Hellboy, although now it's a multimedia franchise with a bunch of animated shows, a couple live action movies, some games, that sort of thing. It was a comic first. And so I'm more forgiving when a comic is like that, unless it's Bendis. Brian Michael Bendis thought he could draw. Have you ever read his book Red? They made it into a bad Bruce Willis film. And the only reason I shit on Bendis's art is that he was super rude to fans that would ask him to critique their fan art for like their own comics, and it was like 10 times better than his stuff. So I'll shit on Bendis all day for that. Although I think Bendis is a good author, he's a terrible artist. But like everything in like the late 90s, early 2000s is colored goofy, because this brought me back to something I reviewed a very long time ago, which was a comic called Jedi vs. Sith that came out in the early 2000s. Some of my old school fans remember my taking a dump all over that comic because the art is terrible in it, but it is nothing compared to this comic's art. The colors are the same, though. And it's something that Dark Horse got really in the habit of doing in the late 90s and early 2000s. We have graphic violence, but the coloring is so pastel-y and vibrant and goofy. It looks like a kid's comic. I don't know why someone in editorial said that was acceptable. It just looks like trash. Trash. This looks like a deranged fourth grader's attempt to make a gory homage to Salvador Dali and Picasso. A lot of you probably went through American schools and they make you take art classes where you try to mimic other famous painters or whatever and do your own takes on their art. And it always looks like shit. I'm sorry to all you parents out there, but very few children's art pieces, when they tried to do Monet or Van Gogh, look good. They're cute because it's your kid, but I mean, objectively, unless your kid's like a painting savant, like you're not. It's nothing to write home about. It isn't. I mean, shit, Cleo could probably do better art, and she doesn't have opposable thumbs or most of a brain. So, this story is terrible. It's nihilistic, which, I mean, the last so many of these Predator comics have been so nihilistic recently that I've read. And what this comes down to is this has been there, done that trash. This got put in the omnibus, but Hell Come a Walkin' doesn't, Demon's Gold doesn't, which are both infinitely better than this. I'm so sick of reading this stuff. I'm glad that 31 Horror Reviews of Halloween's coming up, so I don't have to look at this shit for a month. But, like, I know I have one more of these comics that's just a Wildstorm ripoff. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to Xenogenesis. I could give a fuck less about it. But, gee, I wonder why Predator took a hiatus after 1999 for like 10 years. I mean, yes, Dark Horse got the rights to do novels in the mid-2000s, but those are nothing to write home about. We will get to them very soon. Like, we're on the cusp of that nonsense. But, yeah, it's so sad. Because at the end of the first one of these Marvel omnibuses, it was very clear they were out of steam. And then we got something like Hell and Hot Water, which was kind of neat. It was been there, done that, sure, but like it had a neat setting, that sort of thing. Primal was its own thing, I guess. Nemesis was fine. Hell Come a Walkin' fine. But like Captive, this, like, they're just not good. They've run out of ideas. Clearly run out of ideas. And I'm not here for it. So what would I rank this? I give it a 1.2 out of 5. It's terrible. It is not worth your time to read. If you have the omnibus, skip it. It's misleading with calling it Homeworld. They're on Yautja Prime for like 1 to 2 pages, maybe 3 being generous. And you don't really even understand what's going on for half of it. You have to kind of infer. It's stupid. Not worth your time. Just skip it. So, anyway, have a nice day.